Yuri, welcome to the What Wine How Can I podcast, man. We're super excited to have you here.
Awesome to be here, man.
I know a little bit about your career, a little bit about you. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Who you are, what you're about, what you like to do, some of your hobbies, and then we'll get into more details.
So my name's Yuri, Ruslan's brother. Still pursuing a career in the fire service. Basically almost there. About to start an academy with kind of my dream department. Something I've been working towards for the last 3 years. And this is actually fairly quick of an accomplishment compared to most or a lot of people. So really proud of it. Right now, my hobbies consist of trying to study the new county protocols.
Oh, that's exciting.
Physical training for the academy and church when I can. So
okay,
trying to stay busy.
Sweet, dude. So that's a little bit about you. What, why, and how can I? So I know you don't have a job right now because you just kind of quit so you could study for or work out or train for a couple weeks for your fire academy. Which, I mean, if you want to succeed in something, you got to invest into it. So that's what you're doing now.
Yeah.
So what is it that you're actually after? What is it that you want to do? And then we'll talk about a little bit about the why and then how you did it,
Are you talking about career-wise?
Right.
What I want to do, obviously, I want to work in the fire service. Are you like trying to get a why I wanted to do it? Or why I want to work as a paramedic, want to work as a firefighter.
Okay. So let's go with the how. How did you like your steps? Where did you start? What made you want to go this way? Like your steps, what did you start?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you didn't become a firefighter when you woke up on a Monday morning,
Of course. Actually my introduction to the fire service was very unorthodox. A lot of other people they're introduced to it by like a friend, or say like their dad is a firefighter or their uncle is, or something like that. For me personally, I came out of high school not knowing what I was doing, which something that I always look back at and wish that I did know what I was doing coming out of high school, so I knew what to study for, what schools to prep for.
What like would something like this kind of podcast, if you heard it, like you heard a firefighter talk about the fire service, do you think that would help you steer you in a better direction, or was it just like a circumstances in life?
Oh, of course. If I heard somebody talking about how awesome this job is, I mean, it's something you not always can explain.
Mm-hmm.
More you'd have to experience. But yeah, of course, that'd motivate me a lot to go towards that.
Okay, so let's go back to how you were talking. You're in high school. You didn't know what you wanted to do.
Yeah. So I didn't know what I was doing. Kind of went. Was working at Taco Bell, and then I went to a community college, kind of to experiment, see what I did want to do. Did like an automotive job, and then like didn't like that. I did some welding, and I actually really liked it. I was planning to get my welding certs done, and then I went to a Christmas party, and was talking with some guys, and they convinced me to do something medical. So they were like, well, why don't you just go do something medical? You could weld in your garage if you still like welding, and make some better money. And so I was going to do radiology. And one of my friends, Vadim Sheruba, said that if I could get my EMT license, I can, or certificate, I can get a job making good money as like a bed pusher at where he worked at the time, Mercy San Juan.
Like a transporter or whatever.
Yeah. So I was going to do that. Then in EMT school, I met a couple guys that were pursuing a career in the fire service. And during my internship, I was exposed to what the paramedics got to do. And I was like, wow, I really want to be a medic. I got to see like a lot of good trauma and like how they were able to manage that.
Okay.
And that got me really excited. So I was like, wow, I really want to be a medic.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I was telling my buddies, and they were like, "Well, why are you going to be a medic? Why don't you be a firefighter?" And I was
You could be a firefighter, medic, and
exactly. And I was like,
so check this out. There's a kid somewhere listening in high school or in college, or for me, what is a medic?
so a medic is going to be most of the time you're going to be working for a private ambulance company.
Yeah.
You're a paramedic, so you're basically the highest scope of practice that is going to be in the field, in the streets. If someone calls 911, for the most part, you're always going to have a paramedic respond, and he's going to be running the call. He's going to be running the scene, and you'll have EMTs helping. If you're in a very rural area, somewhere like in the middle of America, you'll most likely just get EMTs. Sometimes, and you might get one medic, or don't know exactly how it works out. But there's not a lot of room for growth if you're just planning to be a medic.
EMT is emergency medical technician.
Correct. And then EMTP is a paramedic, which is just the next level up.
Okay.
With a paramedic card, like if you don't want to pursue the fire service, there's a ton of other awesome careers you can do, which include like working on a helicopter as a flight medic. You could be a flight medic with the CHP. You could be a medic sheriff's officer. You could be a SWAT medic, so you could be on the SWAT team and a medic. There's tons of things you can do. You can also just work in the hospital as an ER tech. And then depending on the hospital, they'll tell you what scope, what you can and what you can't do, and actually make decent money. But for me, I was encouraged to basically check out the fire aspect of the paramedicine, and so that's what I did.
Okay, that's cool. So, when you started taking EMT classes in school, right? You said you were exposed to so somebody encouraged you, hey, go check out the fire. What you got your EMT? What is it? A license, a certificate?
Yeah.
You get your EMT certificate. What was it, like 2 years, a year and a half? How long did this take?
The class is a community college class, mostly offered. So
it's not too expensive. You don't
at all.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably like $600 if you're paying out of pocket, and a lot of private schools like NCTI and Sac State also offer it.
Okay.
So yeah.
So like any of your local communities, your local community colleges should have this. Just like a basic medical class.
Yeah, there's even I know I have a couple of friends that took an expedited course where I think it just took like a couple weeks, and it's because they took an EMT class before that, and then they had their certificate lapse and expired. So
okay. So after you get your EMT certificate, what's the next step? Can you go in and apply? What is like? I would imagine like, okay, I got my EMT, now I'm gonna go apply at a fire station.
Yeah. So the crazy thing is that you technically can apply at a fire department with just an EMT certificate and get hired and work your whole career. But the thing is, there's a lot of competition, and there's probably thousands of other people who also are applying. And you'd have to really get lucky to land a job with just an EMT certificate.
Okay. So what extra steps did you take in your case? You got your EMT certificate. What else did you do to make your resume look good?
So as soon as I got my EMT certificate, I started working for a transporting company, which was AMR here in the Sacramento area. And I was just doing transports with them. And I started volunteering at a department, Wilton Fire.
Oh, I noticed you're wearing the Wilton Fire shirt.
This is actually not a Wilton Fire shirt. This is a Wilton Firefighters Association shirt, which is a separate whatchamacallit, like a
branch.
Group. Yeah, it's like a branch. So we fundraise our own money, and we buy our own shirts. It's not funded by Sacramento County or anything like that.
Okay. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so something you did was you worked for AMR.
Yeah, and that's where I'd make my money. That was my job. And then Wilton was basically a volunteer district where I would volunteer, put in my time, and that was like the resume builder.
So okay, how does I have so many questions here. Wilton as a volunteer, what did you do as a volunteer? I mean, did you clean the dishes, or Or what do they allow you to do in the fire department as a volunteer?
So that place is very special. And soon as you start there, you're assigned a firefighter packet.
Okay.
And that's going to be like general knowledge of firefighter skills and responsibilities. And as long as you could get, I think it's about like a 5 to 7 page packet. And as long as you get every sign off done, you could work as a volunteer firefighter. Mm-hmm. So before you're a volunteer firefighter, you're an intern firefighter. Mm-hmm. And that as long as you're an intern, you can't really go fight fire. You can't really go out in car accidents. You could basically help out, but your main focus
at the station. Just help out at the station.
Yeah, you could go out on calls as well, and you could just kind of basically help out, but you can't be the basically first one in. Because you technically still don't know what you're doing because you still got to get these sign-offs done. Okay. So sign-offs include like basic firefighter skills, like pulling a hose, being able to stretch it efficiently to the door, like knowing your chainsaw, knowing how to repair it, knowing how to troubleshoot it, knowing how to cut a hole in the roof to vent, like so that when that assignment has to be completed, they could count on you to finish it. Okay, so basically, It's going to be a packet of all these skills to knock out. And that department is special in that everybody that works there is a volunteer. The captains, the engineers, and all the firefighters are all volunteers. So everyone's just putting in like their own time because either they feel like they owe it to the community or because they want to build their resume.
Okay, so does Wilton have any department? Is this because Wilton doesn't have a full-time fire department? Why is there a volunteer fire department there? Do you know?
It's because it's a smaller town. They have a smaller budget.
Okay. I mean, that's understandable. What happens, like, say, how many trucks do you guys have there at the station?
We have 3 stations. One station has 2 Type 3 engines, 1 Type 1 engine, 1 water tender, 1 rescue, a patrol, which is like a very small fire engine, a rehab unit, and then we have 2 other stations. One just has a water tender and a fire engine, and the other one also has a patrol, a water tender, and a fire engine. So
now, I would assume that these fire stations aren't packed all the time. I don't know how many people volunteer, or are they?
Exactly. So 2 of our stations are a resident response only. So 2 of them are never staffed unless there's a fire or a call that goes out, and like say it's a big fire, then residents that train with us once a month are going to go to those stations, grab an engine. If they arrive there together, they could all jump in the same engine and they respond to that fire. So
the residents of Wilton will actually go and use this equipment.
Yeah, and that's how most volunteer fire agencies work. Actually, 80% of fire departments in the United States are volunteer.
80% of fire departments?
So only 20 you can like live off of.
Wow, that's so. I'm assuming the 20% aren't like suburban areas, like just very busy areas,
big cities. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Honestly, I had no idea. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That 80% of fire departments are volunteer. Okay, so you're volunteering. How long? Was there a certain amount you have to volunteer for? Until like your resume starts looking good? Is that as long as you want? What's the best way?
Not at all. So, like I said, you can apply with just your EMT certificate. Obviously, the longer, the better. You can volunteer, but I mean, if you're volunteering for too long, it might look a little fishy. Like, why isn't this guy getting hired? What's wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
But that, and then also getting some. So talking about building a good resume. So to build a good resume, I think you'd want a little bit of volunteer time. But you don't want that to be your only volunteer opportunity. Like you want to volunteer in other places. Like I was able to, in my resume, I was able to put that I would like volunteer as a Sunday school teacher. I help out with our church camps. I was also able to put that I was bilingual and I translated in our church. And there's so many other things that that add to your resume. You can put that you worked construction. That's huge because if you know what's between these walls and how far apart, then you would know how you can break through them easier, or you would know how fast they would burn and everything else. So there's so many things that you can do to make a good resume.
And make yourself more valuable for the station. Okay. So So how long before you started applying? So you got your EMT certificate, you started volunteering. How long before you started applying to stations?
I think I started applying right away. I applied to Reno.
Uh-huh.
I think maybe like 5 months after I got my EMT cert, went out there and did they had a physical agility test, and I passed that. And then I think when I was there's about like 600 applicants. We all did a written test, and my buddy got an interview. I never did. But I did recently just get a call from them after I updated them that I was a medic.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I basically turned down their interview because I had like great opportunities that were a little more local.
Okay. So you started applying right away. From what I know, from what you told me before, the hiring processes seems to me like they take forever. What like, so someone wants to interview, what are all the things you have to go through? Or do they require special testing? How do you prepare yourself?
Yeah. There's there's a few different tests, and some departments give their own test, and some go off of like a standard test. Like the most well-known test in California is the FCTC.
Okay.
So if you go and complete that test, you sign up for it, you pay for it. I think it's like $250 to take the test. And then you update. So you take the test, you do a CPAT, which is on the same, it's basically all connected. If you pass the CPAT, then you fill out your profile online, and then you basically are a candidate. Then the departments have this list available to them, and they're going to select, say they want the top 85%, or they want like a score of 70% and up on the test. Then they'll just send an interview to everybody's email that's applicable, and invite them to interview. Other tests will invite you to come and take their tests, or like they'll just put their application out there, and then once you apply, they'll invite you to come take a test. Okay. And there's also the NTN, which is like a less known test, but San Francisco uses it and Seattle Fire uses it.
Okay. Wow, that's a pretty big process.
Yeah.
To get hired, and I know you're super excited, right? You just got an offer from a fire department that you was your number one choice from the beginning.
Honestly, the only reason I think I'm like not as excited right now is because it feels unreal. So that's why I'm kind of like chilled out.
That's crazy. No, I'm super excited for you too, man. Super proud of you, honestly. It's tough. Not everybody can handle all that. Not everybody can handle all the pressure from the treating patients and trauma. You have any cool stories, man? From transporting?
That's a really common question. No, man, I don't have any cool ones. You
don't have any cool stories?
I missed all the good calls. I feel like because my grandma's praying for me too much, and I think I have stories of how I missed all the good calls because like we're on this call, a lady fell out of bed, or her alarm went off. We come in, she fell out of bed. As we're walking into this house, we hear a car accident about a mile down the street from us with like 6 patients. Yeah. And they're asking for more ambulances. They're getting tons of ambulances. We're like, all right, great. Like, ma'am, you're fine. All right. Like, we did all our proper procedures, checked her out, made sure she was okay. She said, no, I just need help getting back into bed. We're like, okay, great. Help her back in a bed. Have her sign. We're walking out. And the fire engine that came to that call with us was outside, and they're like, hey, man, this guy wants to go to the hospital. And there's like a homeless gentleman that was walking down the street and said he can't breathe. He was obviously not in distress and just wanted a trip in a nice bed to sleep in. Yeah. But unfortunately, because of the policies, we had to take this guy, and our folks are struggling out there in the street trying to manage all these patients. And like we missed that one. I missed there's tons of calls that I missed. Just, I don't know. It's called, so in the EMS community, which is emergency medical services, which kind of refers to people that work on ambulances and kind of fire. Yeah. EMS and fire kind of distinguished. But yeah, like you call one person a white cloud and one person a black cloud. So the black cloud gets all the crazy calls and the white cloud just doesn't get anything. So I was just white clouding like all the time. Like my only shootings were in the legs. Like nobody was critical. And so it's like,
I mean, dude, this is still so early in your career.
Yeah.
You'll be white clouding before you know it, man. You'll be a black cloud and hoping you're white clouding.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it always is.
If I'm using that correctly.
Yeah.
Somebody that's looking to get into fire, looking to get into becoming a medic. What do you recommend? What can you say? Do you love your job? Do you hate your job? Can you encourage him? Can you discourage him? What's up?
Um, Best job in the world, man. I don't know. It's very common saying, but I would recommend for people to do a ride along and see if they like it. There's some people who really hate the medicine aspect of the job, and they want to be like as minimal. They basically don't want to be medics. They just want to, be an EMT, and they want to do the fire side, which is awesome. Like if you don't want to do the medical aspect of the job, nobody can force you. And if they do force you, you're not going to like it. You're going to do a bad job at it, and it's just going to be bad for everyone. So a lot of people don't want to be a medic, and that's cool and all. But some people do, and I love it. Like there's something that puts a smile on my face when like I get to help somebody out and like make their day better, or give them some pain management, or like even like you have this kid that can't breathe, you give him medication, everything clears up, and he's doing great. He's smiling, his mom's smiling, and like you just feel so good.
You walk away accomplished.
Well, you don't walk away. You got to take him to the hospital, but
yeah,
at the end of the dock, yeah. But it's such an awesome feeling. Like you can't explain it. But yeah, do some ride-alongs. That's what I'd recommend for everyone. Someone might tell you that it's an awesome job, and you might go do a ride-along and be like, I don't know if I like this. I'd rather sit in a cubicle. So check it out. Okay, yeah,
that's cool. So last question, I think. How do you get a ride along? You sign up with the fire department. Is there a special? Do you got to do any preview interview?
No. For the most part, you could even probably Google the fire department phone number, and they'll give you like the administration phone number. If you know somebody that works at a department, they could give you a phone number, or if they're working there, you could call them. They'll ask their captain, and be like, "Hey, Cap, could we have a kid for a ride along this day or that day?" Or if you call administration will give you the number to that fire station, or they'll connect you with them, and that's it. Just make sure you come into your ride along, ask them what you want, what they want you to wear, how they want you to look, and then bring in like a treat. Don't want to come in empty handed. Okay. So just make sure that they can accept you, and it's
okay.
It's pretty simple.
Okay, one more thing. And I bet we all do this wrong. When we see a fire truck driving down the street, full horns,
pull to the right.
Pull to the right. I mean, dude, I see so many people stopping in the middle of the road, like freaking out. What do I do? We see a fire truck, you pull to the right.
Pull to the right for lights and sirens. Yeah, like it's funny. We're always driving down the road, and like I'll just be on the PA, just nice friendly reminder. Pull to the right for lights and sirens. And it's crazy. Some people are like deaf. Some people can't hear you. They'll just stop right there, and you just stand behind them and wait. I think it's like,
They're just so freaked out. They're like, what do we do? Just drive around, go away.
Yeah, it's just like remind them. I don't know. Maybe they don't speak English. Maybe they're new to the country or whatever. Yeah, just as soon as you see the engine, pull to the right. Obviously, if that thing is flying past you and you're going to be cutting it off, then just stay right there. But if you can, pull to the right. And most ambulance drivers are going to also, like, some of them will wait for you to pull to the right because it's against their policy to pass someone on the right side. Mm-hmm. So they can only pass people on the left side. So they're going to pull to the right. Or even if they need to do a right-hand turn, they're going to pull all the way to the left around all the traffic and then basically go around everybody, around the front of everybody. So, yeah. Okay. To the right.
Okay, so the best thing we could do to help out is pull over to the right when we see lights and sirens. Man, honestly, I again, I want to thank you for coming on. I hope that we've helped some folks out that are looking to join the fire. And if you guys have any more questions, comments or suggestions to Yuri, maybe there's somebody with experience watching. But if you have more questions, comment, DM us, or comment below. Let me know. I'll try to get in contact with our guests like Yuri. If you have any more questions, maybe we could do like a follow-up episode.
Yeah, I definitely feel like we just skimmed the bottom of this one. We didn't even skim the top. I feel like there's so much more to know about, getting into there. So
okay, so perfect. We will definitely have a follow-up episode. Anyways, man, thank you. See you next time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.